is Andy Levine with Sixthman. You're on BackstageAxxess.com, where the real show begins.
Here with Andy Levine from Sixthman, an events marketing firm that specializes in booking celebrity cruises. Andy created this idea combining cruises based around a certain theme, where it would be music related or movie related, or I guess you can say any type of entertainment related. Before we get into the bands that your cruises are, or I should say that the bands that are related to the cruises you have coming up, tell us how you first got the idea of creating this whole six-man marketing firm.
Well, thank you guys for having me. About 10 years ago, I was managing the band Sister Hazel from Florida. And in managing the band, we always worked really hard to develop a healthy relationship between them and their most passionate fans. And we actually created a street team, and the street team was very instrumental in helping the band grow and spread the word from a grassroots basis. And after doing that for a few years, in the summer of 2001, the street team was getting together like every week for these kind of message board chats. And on the chat, they demanded a convention. They said, we've done everything that you've asked us to do for the last few years. We've let you sleep on our couch. We've put up flyers. We've called radio stations to ask them to play your music. And we just want a weekend where we can hang out and grill out and drink some beer with the band. Like, man, they're right. They have done all these things. So I went to the band, and the band was like, yep, they have done them. Let's do something for them. So we didn't really know what to do. I was on a plane sitting next to a travel agent and asked her for help, and she suggested a cruise. And so we said, what the heck? So we tried a cruise, and we took 400 people on a ship, and there was a lot more people there, but we were just a group of 400. And we had so much fun, and it was at that moment that I felt like, wow, what an opportunity. What if we could build a business out of taking the bands and their fans on vacation? And so we've spent the last 10 years kind of making every mistake that you can make in surviving, the best we can, and kind of trying to pioneer this concept. And we've been so blessed and fortunate. We've got great people. There's 30 of us up here, and we're all working hard to make sure people have a vacation of a lifetime.
So Sister Hazel was your first experience, and like you said, trials and tribulations of errors obviously is making the company bigger and stronger to today, correct?
Oh, yeah.
And I got to ask you, since Sister Hazel was your first cruise, what was your most favorite cruise to do? And I don't want to say least favorite, but maybe where there's more issues than, obviously positives that came out of it.
With Sister Hazel, from that first cruise, we launched an event called the Rock Boat that, 12 years later is still an annual cruise, a festival that they're partners with us on and host, and we invite, 25 other bands to come play, and it's just an amazing kind of discovery and, a celebration of music out at sea. And I think when we got to the 10th one a couple of years ago or a year and a half ago, that was a big moment. I think that was just a really big moment to see something be that healthy after that long, and so it was kind of a big milestone, something we were all really proud of as a company. I think from the standpoint of just like who did it the best, Kid Rock, we worked with him a couple of years ago. We're getting ready to do his third cruise, but the first one we did, we just had no idea just how committed he was to his fans, and he took a picture with everyone when they got on the ship. And then he, played a surprise show as we sailed out of port, bought everybody a Jim Beam shot, and then decided one night he was going to DJ. So he kind of got on the ship's microphone at 1:30 in the morning and said, "Everybody get up. We're on a boat Saturday night. Let's go. I'm going to get my turntables, and we're going to go have a party up on the deck." And he stayed out there until 4 in the morning having a good time. And it was just amazing to see his commitment to saying thanks to all these people for not just coming on the cruise, but for all the support they've given him over the years. And he continues to do that. And working with him really pushed us. He was the one that pushed us further than anybody as far as, hey, I'm in. Let's come up with some ideas. And we loved that. We loved our company
And speaking about Kid Rock, and that's actually a good example. Like you said, he actually meets the fans when they first get there, going onto the ship. What are some of the selling points that some of these bands do for their fans that is really not advertised? Because that's obviously something that you probably don't advertise what all these things that he comes up with and just does off the top of his head. But what some of the bands that you worked with that actually do every cruise, but it's not really advertised.
Yeah, every cruise, the basics are, obviously see the band play, and sometimes we'll announce that the band's going to play us a show when we sail away, and sometimes we'll tell them if they get a photo with the band. If people because a lot of people just don't, wouldn't believe it or wouldn't understand. So, but most of it comes to finding out what the band's really passionate about off stage and trying to tie that into the event. Whether they like to paint and they want to do like a photo, an art gallery show, where they show off some of their paintings, or they want to do wine tastings, or they want to do a cooking demonstration, or they want to DJ, or like John Mayer will DJ in the casino or in the disco, and he likes that's his thing. And so I think the thing that happens that you can't really put on a poster is you get to see some of your favorite artists letting loose and do things and play songs and jam with other people that you just won't get to see at a normal arena show. Arena show, they show up, they play the hits, they do their thing. It's very similar night after night for most artists. And this is a chance where they just kind of let loose, and it feels like you're kind of hanging out at their house for the weekend almost. It really does.
Well, besides the Kiss Cruise, which we'll get into a little bit more in detail later, but I know the Kid Rock, and I believe you're going to be doing the Skinner Cruise as well in 2012, correct?
Skinner, yeah, we're planning on that. We're putting the stages there now. That'll be our sixth one, So when done well, these things turn into annual festivals, and so that's what we love. And Kid Rock's on his third, and Leonard Skinner has done 5. They'll be on their 6th, and we have a songwriter cruise we do every year with like Lyle Lovett and John Prine and Lucinda Williams and 35 or 40 songwriters, and that's going into his 5th year. So we're really excited to see him go year over year.
And tell us about some of the other ones that you have scheduled besides the ones we mentioned.
So we have Kiss, and then we have we just shot our first thing this year. We partnered with Turner Classic Movies, and we're doing a film festival cruise in December. And they've got actors from older movies coming on to not only introduce the movies, but to afterwards answer questions about specific scenes and what the experience was like making the movies. And that's been really successful. We have a Weezer cruise coming up in January, and those guys that's going to be fun. Each guy's going to come up with something fun to do outside of just playing the music, and they're going to take the photos with the guests and play the shows, and they're really committed to doing that. Let's see, we have our 12th rock boat in March, and then we've got a 311 cruise that's getting ready to go on sale in October. It'll be our second one, and those guys, man, their fans are just crazy. They are ready and just great energy. So those are some of the things that we have going right now, and we're working on some different partnerships with other brands to bring to life hopefully in next year as well.
Well, I can tell you for personal experience, I'm actually going to be joining you on your Kiss cruise, and this is my first cruise that I'm actually taking for anything. And I'm a big Kiss fan, but speaking on the side of this and going from a business point, how hard was it for you to put this package together? And was there any apprehensiveness on the band because they'll be on the boat with their obviously most extreme fans for 4 days?
Well, it always comes up in conversation, but what's happening now is after we've been fortunate to do 35 of these things with different bands, and what we're seeing over and over is that the people coming on the cruise have been fans for a long time. They probably already have the photo and the autograph, and they're paying a lot of money, and it's usually a really great mutual exchange of respect. And I'm not saying there's not a couple people that try to take advantage of it, but it's a very, very, very small percentage. And so through that, and we have the bands talk to other bands and managers and things like that, just say, hey, this is cool. And so far the feedback has been great. We haven't had one artist kind of get themselves into a bad situation, knock on wood. And like I said, the fans are respectful. So that wasn't the hardest part. The bands, it's one of those things, and we tell the bands, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. So as a company, we've decided not to work with a band that's not going to sleep on the boat, you know.
Right. And you were speaking about going back a little bit in our conversation regarding doing different things, like, and I know Paul Stanley's an artist, he's a painter, and maybe something like him showing his gallery on the boat. Was that something discussed, or is that something that possibly might happen on this cruise?
Yeah, those are the conversations we're having right now with the guys to figure out, okay, here's when you're performing, here's when you're going to be relaxing, and then here's some opportunities to get out there and have some fun and do something interesting, you know. And so those are the conversations we're having right now. So yeah, that's very possible that you could see something like that.
And some of the bands, speaking about the Kiss Cruise, Skid Row, the MB comedian Craig Gass, and the Big Rock Show were added to the bill just recently, I believe a couple of weeks ago. Was there any other bands that are going to be added, and if so, when?
Well, we're working on it right now. Our plan is to add, you know, maybe a handful of small bands, maybe some tribute bands to that time, to that kind of time period, and just to add a little more excitement to it. You know, the band Kiss is playing. You know, they're playing a lot, but it's a lot of downtime, and so we like to make sure that people always have something fun to do and check out new bands, let loose, comedians, whatever it may be. So we're working on that right now.
With Hurricane Irene, obviously just a big tragedy just happened this past weekend. Going down, obviously, southern Florida is well known to have, you know, obviously weather-induced climate. And if there was such a hurricane or weather-related incidents while either before the cruise took place or while anybody was on the ship, what does Sixthman have in place for people who purchase these packages to kind of protect them or put them at ease of mind that, you know, that you guys would take care of, you know, your patrons?
Yeah, so we have insurance in the case if that were to happen, and what we do is we work with the cruise line to make sure that every guest is taken care of. You know, if you look back at it, we've been really fortunate. You know, we work closely with the cruise lines, and I can't remember one cruise being canceled for a hurricane as long as we've been doing this. You know, for actual, because a hurricane was coming. Now, after Katrina, there were some ships that took out of service to go help people in New Orleans, but that was a unique situation. But as far as like the actual voyage itself, what you could see and what I have heard about is the cruise maybe lasting a day longer to give the storm time to pass through, and they what they do is they reroute the ship and they go to calmer waters. They look at where the storm's path is and they go to a different direction. So we would say, all right, we're not going to the Bahamas, we're going here, we're going to Mexico, or you know, whatever it may be. And so the ships are really great about doing that. But if something were to happen, of course, everyone would get their money back, and we'd reschedule the event. And, you know, we'd make it right.
Okay. What happens if you don't like sell certain spots for a certain package? Like if you don't sell all the spots, like if you have a certain amount, like say 2,000 people are supposed to attend on a certain cruise, and then all the spots aren't filled. Like, is there a certain thing that you guys do with those extra spots? How does that work?
Well, you know, it's funny you bring that up. We do, especially on first-time cruises, it's very common to have, you know, out of 1,300 cabins, maybe have 50 or 100 cabins left. What we'll do in that situation is we'll reach out to, we do a couple things. One thing, we'll reach out to some of the military families and see if there's any kind of opportunities to kind of take someone who's given a lot or having a tough year, give them a trip of a lifetime. We also do a thing, sometimes it's called a hero program, where we call it like Help Everyone Rock Out, where we'll ask guests who are currently booked on the cruise to nominate someone they know that's had a tough year and let them go for a discounted rate. You know, we'll take a block and we'll just say, hey, y'all nominate someone who really needs to be on this cruise, who should be there, but you know, circumstances of life have just made it, you know, not possible. And so we involve the people who have already signed up to come and try to help us do that. But it's usually a very small amount. And like I said, if there's some open cabins at the end, we just let them go open. And, you know.
What is, like I said, I'm actually taking my first trip, and what's the best advice you can give to someone who's thinking about going on one of these celebrity cruises for the first time?
Well, I would say this, just plan on meeting a lot of people who you have a lot in common with. As far as what to bring, just bring whatever makes you comfortable on vacation. We don't dress up. We do theme nights and stuff, and you can dress up if you want to. But as far as formal, we want you to, you know, put on your flip-flops and shorts, and we want everyone to have that moment where they're hanging by the pool, having a beer, listening to some good music, or playing a little blackjack, or going to the spa, or reading a book in the downtime, or just sleeping in. And so I think just, bring what makes you comfortable. Everything's there for you. You're going to have a lot of people looking after you, making sure you're on track, and you don't need to worry about your show or what to do. We'll give you a menu of things to choose from, and we're confident you'll make the right choices to do whatever gives you the best vacation.
I know a couple of my friends, they actually looked into Sixthman, and they're like, wow, what a cool venture that you started. And basically a question from them, I should say, is what type of advice would you have for someone who wanted to start a similar venture?
A venture in general, or something just like ours?
Something just like yours.
Well, I would say this. I always joke with people. If I'd have known what I was getting into, I might not have done it. But I'm so far in now, I might as well keep going. You know. But I do think I had the best job in the world. But what I learned quickly was this isn't a concert. When you're asking people to trust you with their time and money for their vacation, the expectations are so high. It's so precious. Everything is precious. It's almost like a wedding, and it's like one step under the wedding. And we just had to make a commitment early on that we were going to build our culture with people who were going to go to any lengths to say, hey, we trust you for, or we appreciate you for trusting us with your vacation, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure it's everything you hoped it would be. And I think once you make that commitment and realize what comes with that, as far as the attention to detail and the listening to the guests is what's important to them, and the making it right when you make a mistake. And I think having the courage to put up $1 million up front a year in advance to get the ship, and then to guarantee the bands, and then to build the technology to allow people to book their cabins and make their payments, and and hire the people. It's a lot, but we love it, and it's just kind of what we were born to do. So I would just say, just realize that you're in the vacation business, not the concert business.
Perfect, man. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. We greatly appreciate it. Like I said, I'm actually looking forward to going down to check this all out myself.
I look forward to meeting you on board, and I really appreciate your time, and like I said, shedding some light on what we're doing. We feel blessed, and everyone who comes usually has a great time. So.
All right, sounds good.
All right, take care.
All right, have a good one. See you.
It was 1989, my thoughts were short, my hair was long, caught somewhere between a boy and man. She was 17 and she was far from in between. It was summertime in northern Michigan.